You've been told you live in a free country, yet every day you ask the government for permission to work, to hunt, to travel. How did we get here? It all starts with the birth certificate. Historically, registration began in England back in 1538, and in the U.S., it trickled in, with Michigan mandating it by 1867. Hospitals push this registration, tying it to benefits like Social Security eligibility. No law forces you to register, but opting out cripples your access to schools, jobs, and passports. It creates a split title to your estate. The state gains legal interest, while you retain only equitable title. Common law splits title in trusts, where the state acts as the administrator through registration, controlling your future estate. Then comes the Social Security number, enacted in 1935, linking you to all property through tax and commerce laws. Your SSN ties you to federal citizenship under the 14th Amendment, enrolling you in a system that backs your federal franchise. Your property and labor pledged to the Social Security Trust Fund. This trust collateralizes citizens for debt, as seen in the 1933 mortgage. Next, we have zip codes and Social Security zones mapping federal jurisdiction, echoing the District of Columbia's overlay. The federal government carves the nation into administrative fiefs, supplanting state sovereignty. The Buck Act allows states to tax federal enclaves, flipping the script. States gain authority over federal citizens. Without claiming your living status, the state assumes you're civilly dead, recognizing only the SSN-bearing federal citizen. Probate laws handle infants and absentees, justifying this silent inheritance. You're treated as an infant under administration, not a sovereign. The Buck Act seals this, managing the alien federal citizen for Uncle Sam. It's a closed loop. The birth certificate splits title, the SSN hypothecates your estate, zip codes occupy silence presumes death, and administration rules. Treason is dodged. There's no explicit claim of ownership. It's buried in the process.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. That was the pre-music track version of the reel I just put up on YouTube. And yeah, still good. A little dry without the music, I think, but gets the point across. Hypothecate, by the way, means to use as collateral. So when I say that Congress hypothecated your estate or your property, which they did, and they have no intention on letting up, actually, which I'll get into in a few moments, but that means to use as collateral, to basically hold in trust as surety for the public debt, so, or for whatever, if you can hypothecate things. So, but tonight, right now, at least for a little bit, I have a fellow jurist with me. It's Jeff. How you doing tonight, Jeff?
Good, and I apologize for the Granger commercial that I think everybody heard. I had my stupid YouTube open, so
Nope.
That was on me. Don't get mad at Ryan.
Nobody heard you because I had you backstage, so you're good to go.
Oh, okay. I was hearing it on Ryan, so okay, good.
I've had that happen too when I was backstage, and I'm like, oh, I had left YouTube open. Happens, right? So tonight we're gonna get into, and we're gonna actually do a series on the motor vehicle code, the right to travel, and the trust indenture, because truly it is the front line to freedom. And I've read, and I can't tell you where I remember reading it at, unfortunately, but I seen one jurist described freedom as the absolute right of locomotion, which me personally, I don't think that encompasses the entire definition, because it's more to do with your property and your ability to use your property however you please without anybody telling you otherwise. But that would encompass locomotion. So it is the front line to freedom. It is the thing that the average normie deals with every day, trying not to get pulled over, having to go get their vehicle inspected, and yes, vehicle, because it's in commerce, having to register, get a driver's license, pay traffic tickets, or just be subjected to Gestapo-style searches and seizures on a regular basis. And I don't know if you guys had a chance to see the one I did on land pirates earlier. The short is basically they can only do this to 14th Amendment citizens. But before I get into that, Mojo just joined us. How you doing, Mojo?
Well, we're doing better tonight. Glad to be here.
Ribs are feeling okay?
Looking forward. And they're feeling better.
Feeling better? Okay.
Appreciate it.
Yeah, of course. So, the motor vehicle code. We're going to take a look at some videos. And actually, prior to even getting into pulling over and whatnot, Gino, one of our subscribers, sent me this video I think everybody will find very interesting. Oh, and I think I forgot to mention that the series is going to culminate me putting together a right to travel binder for everybody, because the right to travel binder is not a get out of jail free card. And anybody who sells you one that says that it is a charlatan and a scammer, I promise you, because every interaction with law enforcement or the courts is always a chess match. Okay, there is no silver bullet, because we are territorially occupied by a hostile foreign corporation that is a commercial extension of the Crown Corporation of London. It's called the United States. And that little tiny corporation that's located in the 10 square miles of the District of Columbia has expanded its tentacles outside of that box and territorially occupied the several states post-Civil War. And then through the 14th Amendment, usurped their sovereignty, right? So we are literally always in a wartime scenario with these people. That is why they ultimately made the police look like military, because that is what they were always intended to be, was to be the Roman centurion, right, to enforce Roman civil law, which Roman civil law is basically maintaining civil order in an occupied territory. That's where it came from. That's why it's Roman civil law as opposed to Roman military law, right? So, but before we get into all that, I'm going to show you guys this interesting. I actually thought this was very cool. Gino sent me. I know my dad's streaming tonight, so sure a lot of subscribers, I'm sure a lot of you guys will catch this replay, but let's see.
And Mark Sargent with Strange World's on tonight too.
Oh, is he? Well, didn't
Yeah,
I
it comes
pick
on at 10.
Didn't I pick the wrong night to stream? Nah, I'm just kidding. It doesn't matter. Everybody catches the replay anyway, so here we go. All right, check this out. Oh yeah, okay, everything's on.
7, all crimes are commercial.
We got to refresh it. I don't know why Facebook's lame like that. Like you have to refresh the. And then
Access to the private side of things and my own estate, and help me create my trust, and I will turn around and walk away and leave you guys the hell alone. That's a guarantee. My word is my bond, and I promise that. But I want to be made whole, and I want a full accounting on everything that was created on this case, because it's all mine.
It's funny he says that. I'm sorry. It's funny he says that, because literally in today's society, your word is your bond. Like anything monetary, well, there is nothing monetary, but any kind of extra collateral that's required beyond that is just extra. You are purely people, the people of this republic and the people of the world in general, because it's all one standardized system in preparation for the New World Order, are the only source of credit and value that any nation has left that hasn't already been hypothecated and stretched to the max. The people are a renewable source of value, essentially, because you're constantly producing, and then you produce children who constantly produced, and that's why they wanted to go ahead and hypothecate you.
Monetized under CFR 27, all crimes are commercial. Okay. The judge is a bank, the judge is a banker in Black's Law Dictionary, and banker is a judge in Black's Law Dictionary. It's circular and it's rhetorical. You here are at a federal discount window. This is a bank. This is where you receive funds and you exchange funds. This is nothing different than the bank across the street or the bank over there. It's no different. So I want my securities, I want my bond, and I want full disclosure.
I have to tell you guys, like, I pick these apart, and if they're on bullshit, then I'll tell you, this guy's 100% right. This is exactly right.
Disclosure on everything he monetized in my good name. It's not hard. And I know you're not used to American men studying and researching and knowing these things, but I'm telling you right now, I know darn good and well what I'm talking about.
I will check.
She knows that he knows what he's talking about. She don't even know what to say. That's excellent.
And
Oh, by the way, hi to Theo and William McLean and unendocked Ryan. I always have trouble saying that. Ryan, good to see you, man. And Pat, if you guys are still in here.
see if that funds can be returned back to you.
Thank you much. And you will never see me again once I'm made whole, because these guys don't have any problems with me and they have no reason to stop me short of murder, armed robbery, which I will never do. I'm a hardworking, able-bodied man. I've never accepted any benefits from the state in my life.
I will.
He knows exactly what I teach. He knows what causes you to come under their administration. Exactly. Never. It's the benefits. Wow. Okay. This is very good, Gino. Thank you. Send more of these if you find them. This is a great example of somebody actually knowing the law. Perfect.
But
I don't appreciate
can't-
being fleeced by this corporation.
Okay.
And that's exactly what it is. It's a corporation.
I can't make that decision.
Well, you've given me your word, and
I
I've
will-
also
I will-
accepted your oath. Can you give me your oath of office today? Do you have that? I need your oath of office, and I need it under certified seal.
Ooh.
My oath of office,
Yes,
I
ma'am.
believe, is in the clerk's office.
That's right. She holds it over there, and you hold hers. But why was Paula able to give me hers?
I don't hold anybody's. I'm just,
Shit. She's in
Just-
The
trouble.
district court holds county courts, and the county
the
clerk
clerk,
holds
the clerk's office, not the district court, the clerk's office
Correct. Thank you
Has-
for the correction. I appreciate that.
has our,
We all took our oaths a month ago from.
Yeah.
Sure. Okay, so
And-
I'm going to
Look at him. They're talking to him like he's the boss, because he is. And he just came in there trying to see what the hell's going on. Wanted to see if, proper accounting of paperwork. And yeah, they do not.
go ascertain your oath so I can hold you to it.
Okay. I will,
Can you answer me this one question? Is that an oath to the Constitution for the United States of America, or is it an oath to the Constitution of the United States of America?
Okay, there I found his first mistake. Don't say that. That's bad. I've never been able to find any actual authoritative evidence that there is any different kind, and there doesn't need to be. They can use the original Constitution the way it was written. It was written that way on purpose to be able to subvert your sovereignty. That was why they scrapped the Articles of Confederation, drafted the Constitution behind closed doors without the consent of the public, with armed sentries outside, and then James Madison's diary or biography, or was it his diaries? Anyways, it was after they released it, like 60 years later, thoroughly sanitized. It said that what he was worried about, as revealed in the Federalist Papers, the 10th one, was the common people having power being a threat to wealthy people's business, essentially. And so that's why they did why they drafted the Constitution, was to scrap the Articles of Confederation and establish this exact system, commercial system, under Article 1, Section 8 that we have today. Don't ever say, is this Constitution of or for? Because everything he did, they were worried. And then as soon as he said that dumb shit, now let's see what happens.
Basically, is it an oath to the de jure government, or is it an oath to the corporation?
Okay, so they don't know either way either, but there's no difference. They can use the original. That's why they wrote it. Okay, that's why they wrote it and replaced our original framework with it, because our original framework was airtight, bulletproof. So
Remember what it says
I think it says,
too, isn't it?
yeah, I mean,
It was just a question, so
I don't have it memorized.
that's all right. It's okay. But I'm going to accept your oath. I'm going to do it in front of this gentleman, and I want you to get my security
So-
non-disclosure form. Give me access
other than that, he's nailing it. Yep, picked out a wit. Yep, he's nailing it.
to the private side of things and my own estate, and help me create my trust.
Oh shit, that's Derek Gonzalez. I didn't even recognize him. Okay, probably because only half his face is in the picture. Okay, yeah, he does know what he's doing.
And I will turn around and walk away and leave you guys the hell alone. That's a guarantee. My word is my bond. And I promise that. But I want to be made whole. And I want
I'm
a
not
full
saying-
accounting on everything that was created on this case, because it's all monetized under CFR 27. All crimes are commercial. The
Okay,
judge is a the judge is a banker in Black's Law Dictionary, and banker is a judge in Black's Law Dictionary. It's circular and it's rhetorical. You here are at a federal discount window. This is a bank. This is where you receive funds and you exchange funds. This is nothing different than the bank across.
Yep. Okay. So it's replaying, but damn, that was good. What do you guys think of that?
It sounds
I
like he
was
knows his
very
stuff
impressed.
there.
Yeah. It sounds exactly like what I talk about, doesn't it? And
Yeah.
yeah.
Would it have been better for him though to have it on bonded paper and sealed and recorded at the clerk?
Yes, if the clerk knew what she was doing. This clerk does not know what the hell's going on. She doesn't know anything.
Right.
Yeah,
Right.
no,
I
she
believe
wouldn't
that.
know. She wouldn't. He could have. It doesn't even matter what type of paper. She doesn't know nothing. And well, not necessarily, because they do have their filing requirements. That's about all they have. So they have a specific type of paper. But yeah, that was she. No, she doesn't. She has no idea what to do. I mean, he absolutely decimated. The courts are a bank. Black's Law Dictionary does describe the judge's bench as a bank. That is the definition of bank. It's a judge's bench or a tribunal of judges. That is a bank. It's no different than, like he said, what they're doing is they're generating unregistered securities, which brings us to our topic tonight. Anyway, that's the point of the Motor Vehicle Code. So the law of mortgage dictates. Who knows what the law of mortgage dictates? Because I've went over it many times. Do you get which one of you guys? Either of you? About the property when the loan's outstanding.
Yeah, it creates a shared trust or shared interest in the property.
And they
Well, it
have
does that,
security-
yeah. But more specifically, oh, go ahead, Jeff. Yep.
a split title where they have the superior title and we use it under their rules as a 14th Amendment.
See if I can highlight this in the dictionary.
Payments of interest, yeah.
Okay. More specifically, when the loan, so Congress in 1933 hypothecated your debt or hypothecated your estate, which means anything that you attach to that social security number, your motor vehicle or automobile that they call a motor vehicle, your home, or anything else, including yourself, is considered property. Those things are considered property held in trust as collateral for the public debt. And so the lender is entitled not only to payments of interest of debt, that would be your income tax, it just goes straight to interest, but also to the rents and profits of the estate, right? Now, we're not talking about just real estate here, we're talking about the whole estate. But generally mortgages are of real estate, but they mortgage entire estates of people. And so this meant, as far as the borrower is concerned, the real estate was of no value, that is dead, until the debt was paid in full. And that's actually why it's called a dead pledge, a mortgage, dead pledge. So they're entitled to the beneficial use of the property, right? They're entitled to the rents and profits. That's why they created revenue codes, so that because the loan that the Congress took out, since we're still using Federal Reserve notes right now, has no end date. The loan is outstanding, the debt is building, and the bankers are entitled to rents and profits from the property that's being used as collateral. That means you, that means your car, that means your home. So there's your income tax, there's your motor vehicle code, and there's your property tax. Those are profits going to the lender. That's what that's for. So that's why motor vehicle code exists, and you're under administration as an infant. So when they first created the 14th Amendment, they created the 14th Amendment for newly freed slaves who could not take care of themselves because they had been in a state of dependency for generations. So they could not have access to common law or to, the natural rights that come with common law. So the United States came up with a ploy and said, we're going to create this 14th Amendment. We're going to offer privileges and immunities, and we're going to take them under our guardianship, right? These 14th Amendment citizens are going to come under our guardianship. We'll give them privileges, immunities, and benefits. Those are called civil rights and now welfare. In exchange for basically being like a child of the state, where the state controls your property, tells you how to use the property, and then fines and fees you for the use and the misuse of it. That's called administrative law. That's what the Motor Vehicle Code is, and it's all tied to the 14th Amendment. You take the 14th Amendment out of the equation, which is what we're going to do when we get to the right to travel packet. You take the 14th Amendment out of the equation, and the whole thing collapses. It cannot exist without the 14th Amendment because Congress has the borrowing power, or well, the power to coin currency, and then somehow they extrapolated that into being able to delegate that to somebody else and then ultimately borrowing, which itself is unlawful, but whatever. But they're federal. They don't have jurisdiction over state citizens. So you remove the 14th Amendment and the whole thing collapses. You guys got anything on that?
Other than the 14th Amendment was never ratified and should be removed anyway.
100% agreed. The issue with that is the original 13th Amendment that was ratified, all of a sudden was declared unratified for no reason. And the Bar Association took over the entirety of our courts and government. And they are the ones who, for some reason, even though it doesn't make any sense at all, get to interpret the Constitution. So Marbury versus Madison, everybody knows that court case. Yeah. Any law repugnant to the Constitution is null and void. Okay, cool. Well, that's not the actual holding of Marbury versus Madison. It's something you can get out of it, right? But that's not the main holding. The main holding is that the Supreme Court is created by the Constitution, and therefore they can in no ways determine what adheres to it and what does not, because they're a creature of it. It would take the people who created the Constitution to determine what adheres to it and what does not. Does that make sense? And Marbury versus Madison, that was the holding. But then nobody learns that. You just hear any law repugnant to the Constitution is null and void. It doesn't say any law repugnant to the Constitution, as long as the Supreme Court doesn't say it's okay, is null and void. It doesn't say none of that. Right? It just says just automatically null and void. And the Supreme Court can suck a fat one because they were made by the Constitution.
The created cannot control the creator.
There you go. Boom. The created can never control the creator. The same way you cannot control God is the same way that the Supreme Court cannot determine or interpret or control the Constitution. But they do, because that was the intention of the Bar Association the entire time, to trap you in a trust, trap you in equity, and make themselves God. And if that's a confusing statement, watch my earlier shows, because I'm not going to get into all that tonight. But anyway, let's move on to the next. So we get that the motor vehicle code is the beneficial use of the property while the loan's outstanding, so that they can basically they're like shearing you like a sheep, or like planting pretended offenses in you and growing commercial paper out of you. It's like you're an agricultural product that they're growing securities from. That's what they're doing. It's absolutely what they're doing. And so let's look at some examples of, well, I haven't actually watched any of these I'm about to show you. So we're going to watch these together for the first time, and I'm going to pause, and I'm going to, well, first I'm going to invite up FE Nation. How you doing tonight, man? I don't think I've had you on before.
Hey, Ryan. How you doing this evening?
I'm doing great, man. How about yourself?
Mojo? So, brother?
Hey, Carl, good to see you, my brother. Good to be on the stream with you.
Good to have you here, brother. I watch your show. Ryan, you're like great. That's for
Thank
sure.
you, brother. I appreciate that.
I went on your dad show, saw his place, of course. Hey, Jeff, how's it going?
What's up, my new friend?
You out. Good.
That's all right.
How you doing, brother?
Good to meet you.
Hey, look, man, it's the moon, right here.
I see that. Yeah.
And this is Jupiter on the left, 400 million miles away, and there's the moon. What's up with that?
Yeah, it's an
look at all its
inconsistency,
little moons around it and everything. That's my shot. Hey, you know what? And the night that I got that, it was Venus was right underneath the moon. It was like, and I tried to see if I could repeat that the next year, see if everything lined up year after year, and to no avail.
Right on, man. No, that's actually a cool background you got going there, though. I dig it. All right. So, what'd you think of what that fellow was saying? What Derek was saying to the court clerk?
Well, yeah, okay, and I want to give you an example of that. Can I tell my story? I mean, I interrupt your program here, and I told on your dad show. You know, he loved dad. First time I met him in real life, I sent him a badass picture. You should have him send it to you against the fountain there in Vegas. Mojo was there. I even got them two doing a guitar session together. It's badass.
Right on. What's
Yeah.
so
Yeah,
what's the
Ryan,
story?
I just got to sit and jam with your dad one time out there in Vegas.
Yeah, I
pretty
got that
cool.
on film. I got that on film. Nobody else has it on film, I don't think, other than me. Shot it with my P900. You know,
You'll have to send it to me.
He's pretty talented. So
Yes, both of them are. Yes.
so what's your story with the in regards to the trust? Or to the what Derek was saying? Do you remember or no?
Yeah, about the you're a corporation pretty much, and you forced me into something that I didn't want to, not voluntarily, but you said if I didn't get it, pretty much, I can't do this.
It's called coercion. Yeah.
Yeah, it's called coercion, right? Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, I can do it. I can force you, but you can't force me.
No, that's what makes the contract invalid, actually. Once you know what they're doing, that's what makes the 14th Amendment
It's all about
invalid.
force. Like you said, no harm, no loss, no injury. Show your witnesses. That would be great.
Well, so like how people go, some people go, well, your mom signed the birth certificate, so how do I undo that? Well, it's easy, because she never ever could hypothecate your future sweat equity in this country. It's against, so the Virginia Bill of Rights, the original Virginia Bill of Rights, and due to the doctrine of parity, all states who came in after Virginia are on the same footing as Virginia and with the same system, right? We're all the same system.
Committed fraud by coercion.
Virginia's Bill of Rights said that no one shall deprive their posterity of the right to property. And that's exactly what happens when your mother informs on you and creates a birth certificate. She cannot do that. She didn't do it on purpose, but she cannot do that. They cannot make her do that. She cannot deprive her posterity of his or her future sweat equity. It's against the law in this republic. And it's against conscience. It's against what's morally right. Right. And for what?
You got to pay me for your service. I shouldn't have to. I can pay taxes on goods, whatever. So this is like, there was one guy that was talking about the taxes on your show, and I just wanted to address this. He was saying, oh, the road, you got to pay for the roads. And I'm like, that's why gas is so expensive.
Gas tax. Yep.
Because
and with your mother,
I believe me, I used to work for a guy in Texas, right? And he was actually he paid like 7 to 14 cents a gallon back in the 80s, right? And
that's the proper tax system. So that's the whole thing. Like what you're talking about is proper tax, and that's like, yeah, okay. There's sometimes the government gets up their own ass with the proper tax system, and that's where you hear that no taxation without representation, which was entirely bullshit about the cause of the Revolutionary War, as apparently the debt clock just proved when they put Ben Franklin. It was actually about the control of the currency and not letting colonists have their own currency. They'd have gladly borne any tax if it wasn't for England taking away their ability to have their own currency.
Because England starved them out. They send
the proper tax system is, so government exists to facilitate commerce, and then to deal with like the refuse of society. So criminals, poor people, incompetence, and to deal with intestate estates. These are to facilitate smooth transitions of property but those are the intestate estates, and being able to administer estates is how they got control of you.
Well, I'd say 90% of the criminals they say are criminals are innocent.
No. I would not say anywhere near 90%, but I'd say there's a significant percent. There's a lot of people, I hate to say it, deserve to be there, and trust me, I know. So, but there are a lot of people, like I've met people who had done prison time for, say, tax evasion. That's bullshit. You're not a criminal, right? They're the criminals trying to extort you. But here's how they can. This is the point. I try to drive this home all the time. When you accept a benefit from somebody, right, it's this simple, and this goes back to Blackstone's, and it's such a hard concept to grasp at first, but once you do, you totally see the system. And that's what Derek said when he was at the window. He said, I've never accepted a benefit from the state in my life. That's important. That is a very important thing to say for this reason right here, because that is what the privileges and immunities of the 14th Amendment is. That's what Social
So
Security.
that would be a
is.
tax return. If they return something to you, that
Yep.
would be a
Well,
benefit.
no, the benefit is the Social Security, the deferred retirement benefit in the first place, because you're not going to be able to plan for your future retirement and not going to be able to take care of yourself when you get old. You need the benefit of them guaranteeing that they're going to take care of you and make sure that you don't die on the street or something, right?
Country boy can't survive.
And that,
You know what I
but
mean?
listen, that
I
right
was born
there.
in Michigan, man, right there in Monroe. I'm a
Okay,
Michigander.
Monroe, I used to live by Monroe. Yeah, I know. Where that's at.
Wolverines.
Yeah, so look, so it says this.
There's a reason there's a movie by that.
Look, man considered, so everybody is under the law of God. We can all agree about upon that, right? Like everyone has no choice but to be under the law of God, whether they follow it or
Yeah, I
not,
serve no man.
whether they like it or not, you're under the law of God. Well, look, Blackstone lays out why. He says, man, considered as a creature, must necessarily be subject to the laws of his creator, for he is entirely a dependent being upon his creator. You could not exist without your creator. That's why you're subject to your creator's laws. That's why. It says, a being independent of any other has no rule to pursue but such as he prescribes to himself. Meaning, if you're not dependent on anybody, you make your own rules. It's whatever. Just don't hurt anybody, right?
Right.
Now look,
Exactly.
but
What's that? Now you got a right to protect yourself, right? Yes or no?
yes, listen, you listen, but
I
a
got you.
state of dependence will inevitably oblige the inferior. Do you know what that means? It means that a state of dependence will inevitably force the person who is dependent to take the will of him on who he depends as the rule of his conduct. So when you accept privileges and immunities, civil rights, when you accept Social Security deferred retirement benefit, when you accept welfare, Medicaid, when you even accept utilities, right? These are benefits, and that's how they take your property under administration. What happens when you're under administration? You're basically a child, and the government's your parent. Administration is for intestate estates, which means a person died without a will. So then the government, the courts have to come in and determine the descent of the property and how the property is going to be disposed of. Or an incompetent person who's crazy or a spendthrift or a drunkard or something like that, then the government, somebody can file for letters of administration. The government can come in and say, okay, here, and then they get taken under administration as a ward. Pauperism, being poor, not having access to money like we do now. That's how they've got everybody. You're a pauper. You cannot have money. You cannot buy anything. You are poor. You are a worker. You are a battery in the machine because of it.
What if it says to live there forever?
So the pauper thing is one of the main nexuses of how they get us, because the entire country, well, the entire world is one big tax plantation. It's one big workhouse. Okay. So they took away your ability to have lawful money. And when they did that, they took away your ability to have lawful right to property. Now you can only have equitable right to property determined by contract that daddy government tells you, that daddy government dictates. That's how that works. So the pauper thing is when somebody becomes a charge to the state is originally how it started way back in England. And then it's, of course, we didn't create new law when we became independent. We just kept using common law, except for we became sovereign instead of subjects to a king. And so we were co-tenants in sovereignty, which is what it says in Chisholm v. Georgia right here. It says,
we're sovereign without subjects, pretty much.
I bring all the receipts, yes. And so right here, we go like this. We say control find sovereigns without subjects. So you say like this.
U.S.
It says,
Supreme Court, right?
Yeah. Well, yeah, 1793, Chisholm v. Georgia. Look.
I'm going to tell you a funny story about that. If I know what you got, and I can tell you a funny story about that one.
Shoot.
It just happened like a couple of weeks ago. Right there at the courtroom. I watched it happen.
Well, okay. So this right here, it tells you that at the Revolution, the sovereignty devolved upon the people, meaning it went from the crown to the people. And they are truly the sovereigns of the country, but they are sovereigns without subjects, unless African slaves among us may be so called, and have none to govern but themselves. The citizens of America are equal as fellow citizens and as joint tenants in sovereignty. And then it tells you here, it says, our governors are agents of the people and at most stand in the same relation to their sovereign in which regents in Europe stand to their sovereign. So the government's beneath you, right? So how did they get above you? Because they offered you benefits and then you depended on them and you came under them as a creation. They created the 14th Amendment citizen, the United States
And you
citizen.
signed a contract, right? Is that would be the deal? I didn't mean to interrupt you, but you signed a contract, correct?
The registration of your birth certificate and the social security card, yes. So look, so they created, the people created the states. The states got together and created a federal trust called the United States. Then the United States created its own little creation called the United States citizen, which is its agent, its trustee, its chattel. And then people who agree to be in that persona lose all of their sovereignty and all of their common law rights of being one of we the people, but they supposedly gain the benefits of protection and privileges and immunities, also known as civil rights. So you can be a bugger, you know what I mean? You can be a homo and all that stuff, right? Gay rights and all that, right? Gay rights is not a thing, dude. I'm sorry, but anyway, so not at law, it's not. It's 100% at common law. It's 100% unlawful to do that type, because it's unnatural. But whatever, whatever. Anyway, not going to harp on that too much, but that's an example. And you accept these civil rights and all this stuff, right, which are not rights, they're privileges and immunities. And in exchange, you give the controlling interest of your ability to acquire and own property to daddy government. Then daddy government, once the whole purpose of that, if you look at the 14th Amendment, right, it's supposed to be an equal protection law that no one shall abridge the privileges and immunities of the citizens of the United States. And it goes down and it literally reestablishes the entire government of how nobody questions why they're talking about how representatives shall be apportioned under the 14th Amendment. It means they're changing the whole system, changing how representatives are apportioned and everything, right? And then the real intention of this amendment comes from Section 4, which is the validity of the public debt of the United States, right, shall not be questioned. Why? Because the 14th Amendment citizen is their pool of agricultural collateral. And you gave them that right because you accept benefits from them, privileges and immunities. In fact, they've got us in such a state of dependency. I was at Meijer earlier, right? Meijer, you guys might not know what it is. Big grocery store up north, big grocery store chain. Fred Meyer. And on the wall, it said, we need our customers don't need us. And I started thinking, I was like, yeah, that was true when you guys started, wasn't it? But that's not the case today, is it? If grocery stores disappeared tomorrow, you'd have mass death. Mass death. See how they made everyone dependent on the system? That's how they control you. That's how they control you. They make you dependent. If you're not dependent on them, you can tell them to go pound sand, dude. I don't need you. But take all your shit. I don't need your social security. I don't need none of your stuff. Go away. I don't need civil rights. I can protect my own rights. Go away from me. Be gone. Right? Is what people should have said when this started. But they started with the blacks, the newly freed blacks who couldn't take care of themselves, and then they, all the civil rights and the merging of people. Pretty soon, people started falling in love with 14th Amendment citizens. The newly freed slaves, and then they wanted to marry them. Well, that's government property. That's where the marriage license came from. Now you got to have a license to marry government property, right? Not only that, but the northern states, especially like my piece of shit state here, was working in tandem, lockstep with the bar association that was creating federal supremacy, because you had the Civil Rights Act of 1866 was the first thing that created a federal citizen. Then they said, oh, that's not permanent enough. We need to enshrine it in the Constitution as an amendment. Well, that didn't happen until 1868. But in the meantime, in 1867, Michigan started mandating birth certificates. And every single person who went and registered their birth, right, gave up their sovereignty. Because the word registration, regis, regal, crown, registration means to give to the crown or the state, to give to the sovereign, to give to someone above you. Register. And the reason and the purpose of it is for protection. It always has been. It was introduced into the Western culture by William the Conqueror after he conquered England in 1066. And
Can I intervene on that?
Do I have anything on that?
No, it's can I intervene on that?
Oh yeah, go ahead.
I mean, you're on a roll, man, and I love your work. So it's basically they're telling you you can do this as long as you do this and don't do that, you're okay, right? But you got to pay me a fee for that to be done. Once you pay me the fee, then you can just keep on doing as you want to. But if you do this and I catch you at that, you got to pay me a fee for it.
Well, yes, but as a 14th Amendment citizen, you entirely exist at the mercy and also at the pleasure of the United States. You are an extension. You are an extension of that corporation. So
okay,
that's how that works. But look, and then it reveals it, and the reason being so that they have the authority, or you could look at it like power of attorney, to be able to mortgage your estate. That was their intention the entire time. And it's not even about the money. It was for the politicians who did it, right? But the people that orchestrated this scheme, or if you can even call them people, the demons that orchestrated this scheme, right at the tippy top, it's always been about power. They have more money than they could spend in a million lifetimes.
Sounds like slave owners, and that's why we're sheeple, right? Or no, chattel.
Chattel.
Whatever.
Yes.
That's going to be my question the next time I ever go to court. Can you explain to me what chattel is?
Mm-hmm.
I can.
They need to answer that question. Right?
All chattel means is movable property.
That's it.
It's
yep.
like,
and that's what
exactly. So I'm a slave then. What am I, a product?
Well, no,
so you're saying I'm a product. I'm not the living man and woman. I'm just a product that you can buy and sell whatever you want to do with me, right? So they have to prove that in court, and then I'm going to tell them they're talking to ghosts when they can't.
Well, what you could say, Fe, right, is say, am I here as chattel property of an estate? Which you are. That's what you're there as chattel property of an estate and as the trustee of the estate. You're both part of the res of the estate, which means the property, the thing, right? You're part of the material of the estate, and you are the trustee of the estate, responsible for performing the obligations placed on the estate, which is what you're there for them to do, is place more obligations on the estate for your breach of prior obligations of, say, not driving 55 miles an hour on the highway. They told you how to use your property, or told you how to use the property that they administer that you think is yours. See, I keep messing that. I keep saying your property. You think it's your property. They know it's property they administer, right? And they're bringing you in for not using it the way that they told you to, because you're only allowed to use it. It's not yours. You're a usufruct. It's feudalism. It's neo-feudalism is what it is. So, all right, let's take a look at some videos here. And Peck said, let's look at some of these. So Grouch obviously said, fuck the police, right? Chris Hemness said, is the government as most know it just a corporation masquerading as government? Yes. Well, it's a little tricky because government has always been a trust, and a corporation is a form of a trust. But originally it wasn't necessarily a corporation, it was a company. The United States was a company, and then the state governments were trusts founded on compact created by the people. So you could look at them almost like a private express trust, almost, but not quite. Now they're all corporations. Yes, 100%. After 1871, for sure. 100% they are. All right. And then, let's see. You got, shit will hit the fan when all these rides and supermarkets closing. Well, actually, I want to address that real quick. So we were talking about that.
Chickens, cows, goats, pigs, dogs, and plenty of deer around me, and a water stream, actually. I got a creek that runs by, so right in the middle of my land.
Do you pay property taxes?
Yeah, well, I got a contract that says forever. How about that? Written in stone.
A title or an actual land patent with an addendum clause? What you're talking about is called an addendum clause.
It's what is it? I got a landlord as long as I keep this property from anybody stealing anything off of it, and I keep a perimeter around it. It was a contract my dad signed, and that's what I was going to ask you about that. So it's a contract my dad signed, and at the end it says that this land will be forever in the house of Fletcher.
Well, and then it depends on the conditional provisions of that contract that could maybe forfeit that, because there would have to be a forfeiture clause. You know, you have to compel performance. So there would have to be a forfeiture clause. But yeah, I mean, that's a solid contract.
Yeah, there's a sign. You can ask Mojo about it. There's a sign in the middle of the house, and they only own that little property. I owned everything else around it.
Well, if you're a tenant, though, and you have a landlord, you don't own it. And so that's what I was going to say, is that you're in a feudal tenure, which is fine. But it says forever, as long as I keep it and nobody steals their shit. I know, but if somebody else takes over their position, it could jeopardize your position. You'd have to fight. I mean, the fact that it says that they put an addendum clause in it is fantastic. That helps you out tremendously.
Yeah, it says forever, bro. Right at the end of the contract, it says forever.
That's enough.
No matter what.
All the allodial type, all the land patents that were issued in this country, in this republic, all had addendum clauses to them. It said to us and our heirs and assigns forever.
That's what it says. It says the heirs and everything in there. That's what it states. Yes, sir.
Clause. It's powerful. Yeah, it's good. But
as long as I protect this sign, and the Mojo can tell you about it. As long as I protect that sign, that little piece of property, as long as I protect it, and I got this razor wire, man, it's a fucking fortress around here. You ain't getting in. If you don't know about it, you're fucked. Just straight up.
But
I don't even have to pull the gun out or the arm. I'm sorry. I don't have to pull the arm out. You know what I'm saying?
I do. I know what you're saying. Yeah.
Yeah.
So to address Chris's question, Chris Hemness, he was asking, is the government a corporation? And I said, well, and I explained that about the trust. And I said, after 1871, yeah. And he said, Organic Act of 1871, yes. That's what created the District of Columbia as we know it today. And then the District of Columbia started doing business as the United States, and then territorially occupied the states. But it's really, instead of typing out what I was just going to say, it's really the 14th Amendment that ultimately reformed the entire structure of our society, and also declared that corporations and businesses and entities like that are persons just as much as an individual, man or woman under the 14th Amendment as a person. So they put you on what's called parity, right? They gave you parity with they gave corporations, which would be beneath you as non-living entities, they gave corporations parity with you. Which means
John McCain was running for president. I remember that.
Go ahead. What? Sorry.
I said when John McCain was running for president, and they had that donation thing that they legalized, or whatever you want to call it. They accepted corporations as private entities for donations. I remember that very well.
Well, no, but there's actually a Santa Clara County court case. I have it saved somewhere, but that was the case, the Supreme Court case that they all used to declare corporations persons. And it's basically one little sentence in the whole case where the guy goes, I'm not going to engage in the discussion of whether or not corporations are persons under the 14th Amendment, because we all know that they are. And that's the only sentence, that one little sentence, and it may not be exact, but that's the gist of it. Declared corporations persons and gave them parity with the sovereign people, which are no longer sovereign. Everybody's persons, which person is persona. It is a role for you that they've written, right? 9 to 5, all that good stuff. And that you adopt, that is the nexus of the entire scheme. Let me see if I think I sent a video like this right here. This actually illustrates exactly what I'm talking about very well.
Well, yeah, exactly what you're saying is part of the scheme is like, as long as, abiding by that contract, be a contract, right?
It's not even just about contracts, because it's an implied contract when you accept benefits from them, right? So hold on a second here. Let me show you guys this.
Yeah.
I gotta
guess.
refresh it.
Uh,
Listen.
the benefits. Staying here forever. That would be the deal. So
No, you
forever,
can
as
get out
long as the heirs and everybody was taking care of the place and nobody
We'll get
committed
into
theft.
that. We'll get into
And I'm just
No, we'll get
asking, you know what I'm saying?
It's not a
You
simple
know,
answer.
I'd like to get your opinion on it because,
I'll
like I
give
said,
All right, let me play this video and then I'll tell you. But listen to what she says. Play, says me.
To memorize facts you never use. You were trained to raise your hand, wait your turn, and follow instructions. Then they told you, get a job, work 40-hour week, half of it to tax, retire at 67 if you're lucky. That's not a life. That's a script. And most people don't question it because they're too tired from living it. But once you see it, you can't unsee it. That's when you realize freedom was never going to be handed to you. You have to build it. And that's what I teach digital products, because ownership is the only way out. No boss, no begging, no clocking. You move different when you know the system was.
You hear what she said, though? The 9 to 5, all that's a script that was written for you. It's a script that was written for you. And that's the point. That's the United States citizen. That's the 14th Amendment. They literally wrote that script that people adopt and have to play
just
out.
like
That's
the King James Bible.
That's called
It's
being a
script
trustee.
written by men.
We're not going. No, I did disagree, but we're not going into all that. The trusteeship is literally a script. If I write up a trust and you agree to be the trustee of that trust, then I write your script as the executor or administrator. I write your script. Whatever I write into that trust is your script. You have to play that movie out and discharge that obligation or the several obligations before you can be freed from the trust indenture. Okay?
As long as it has your seal.
Right. And so they wrote this United States citizen script, right? And people are stuck playing in the role, but there is no discharge date. There is no discharging the obligation. It's a perpetual obligation indenture. That's how they got you. That's how they continue to get you. So I was going to tell you about that. Is the problem with your contract with the person you signed the contract with is the person you signed the contract with doesn't have a allodial title to that land. That land is still under the county as a feudal lord. So it honestly, I mean, well, let me put it to you this way. It actually, you probably have a leg to stand on under the common law of contracts. You have a solid leg to stand on, but you have to learn what that is. You have to be able to apply it. It's protected by Article 1, Section 10. You'd be like, this is a common law contract. You can't just force me off my land. But if you don't know how to fight that way, they can do whatever they want to you. The county can, or whatever your feudal lord is. If it's a
Okay, I got you, Ryan. Now let me tell you something. I've been listening to you for a while since your dad, and the first time I saw you on Softs. And I've been avid watcher, listener, and taking your word to heed. Okay. And my brother went into court a couple weeks ago. Right. I was there. And when he got served, I was here on property when he got served. The officer walked in, the gate was open. Said no trespassing, but he fucking walked on in. I met him at the gate, and I said, "Hey, how you doing? Where's the address?" Blah blah blah. I says, "Up there somewhere." I walked him out the gate, had a conversation with him, and I sent him up the road. When he left, I locked the gate. Okay, and then he came back, but I went and told my brother, "Hey man, fucking this is bullshit, man. Fucking go deal with it." So, and the officer gave me shit, whatever. Well, the court date came up, right?
right.
And watching you and your dad, with what y'all say and everything, and I was teaching my brother, and he went in there, and I promise you, went in there, and they called his name, right?
Right.
Because I'm here to represent him. First thing the bailiff said was, you gotta have here they was walking away, He's like, you got to have a attorney.
No, you don't.
And you listen, they put him to the side, right? That's
Uh-huh.
right. They put him to the side. Half the courtroom started laughing. Okay. I'm sitting there watching this. In the background, they started laughing. I'm looking at them. Like, they're laughing. I said, hey, y'all. I said, this ain't no funny matter. I said, y'all need to pay attention. Okay. That's what I told him. I said, y'all need to pay attention.
Okay, so what happened?
Okay. So my brother, he goes, and they called his name out. He goes, hey, I'm, well, you know, whatever. And he goes, yeah, I'm, my name is this. The other one, the last name is a clan name. That's what he told him in court.
Yeah, I mean,
Okay.
yeah, it is.
Right. Now listen, here's the deal. And then at the end, okay, at the end, the judge was asking the one that was filed against, okay, the accused. I'm the accused, but the judge was asking him at the end, hey, what do you want to do? The judge asked him, hey, how would you like to proceed? He goes, I just want it dismissed. Everybody's jaws dropped to the fucking ground.
And did they dismiss it?
Oh yeah, they dismissed it. We you know, he gave it, you sovereign people, blah blah blah. You know, he said that too, but I didn't hear what he said because he lowered his fucking voice. You sovereign people, you know.
Yeah, well, because they want to be God, but that's awesome. That's a very good story.
Yeah,
I'm
he
happy
got it dismissed and everything.
like
Straight up.
Sergeant Frog Dog says here, when it comes to like traffic citations, it's always the only if you ever acquiesce to their jurisdiction, which is equity, ultimately, to just simply put it, it's equity. And if you don't know the difference between law and equity, go watch my stream. What's the difference between law and equity? And you will know. It is not law. Article 3, Section 2 makes a distinct separation between the two, saying that, you know, the judicial branch will have jurisdiction, and it's verbatim, or it's not verbatim, but in all cases of law and equity, it's two separate jurisdictions. And equity is the enforcement of prior agreements and contracts that could not be enforced at law because it's pretend law. Contracts make pretend law, but they're very real for the people that sign to it. Let's call them man's law. They're not actually law. They're just, you agreed to this, so you have to do it. And equity can compel you to perform as a trustee or whatever. But law cannot. So if I enter into a contract with Jeff over here in Mojo and I say, hey, you're going to use this car for our mutual benefit, but you can only use it like this. Well, none of the things that I say about how he can use the car can be enforced in a court of law because I can't make law. Only God can make law. That's a simple fact of common law. Anybody who doesn't know it, go read Blackstone's commentaries. All 4 books, right? I've read 3 of them. So I know. And he's one of the most well-respected jurists in modern, well, not even modern history anymore, but in our founders' modern history. That was who they drew upon in John Locke and William Blackstone to create the framework of our original Confederate government. And that's absolutely right. So only God can make law. Law cannot be written. It can only be written about. That's Blackstone. Equity, however, can enforce and compel somebody to perform a trust, a trust obligation or the obligations of a contract. And the way that it does that is by making the judge God in the courtroom. And so that whatever the judge's conscience dictates is what happens. So what your brother did was he denied jurisdiction, right? By saying, hey, I don't belong here. I'm not, one of these indentured. I'm one of the living people, part of the clan or whatever.
And Ryan, can I interrupt you here for a second?
As long
another
as
thing they want him to do. Another thing they want him to do was they want him to. They got him in there, and after he refused all that, they wanted, if you could just sign here, please. He told him straight up, I don't sign contracts.
Yep. There you go.
He goes, right in court. You got to do that right in court. I don't sign contracts. That's what he told them. And they freaked out, man. I'm telling you, they freaked out.
You don't have to tell
and everybody in the courtroom, they fucking, their jaws dropped because that judge was asking the
Once you know what they're
accused party, the accused party, if what he wanted to do, the judge, he was in charge. My brother got in charge of that.
What the judge asked you when we were doing that thing when you did the at-law common law or the at-law suit against them, declaration of trespass, and the judge did what?
He was asking me if I would like to adjourn.
Yep. Yes,
exactly, Mojo. That's it, brother. Yeah, you just got to put him in check right there. And you don't even really need paperwork. You just got to go there for first appearance and put him in check.
The very first question I would ask, like one of them that I ask, is this a court of law or equity? If it's a court of law, where's my victim? Because there has to be an injured party. There has to be a living injured party for this to be a court of law. If it's a court of equity, then what contract or trust arrangement do you presume to be me to be under? It's that simple. It really is that simple. It's that simple. But they're going to sidestep. They're going to sidestep it. They're going to obfuscate, and they're going to try to just repeat themselves over and over and over again. And that's why it's a chess match, right? You're lawfully right when you know to say, is this a court of law or is this a court of equity? You're lawfully 100% right to ask them that, and they're lawfully obligated to answer. However, we are territorially occupied by a hostile corporation whose agents are not even taking their oaths of office anymore. As a guy named Viper in Florida has been finding out and suing these people. These guys are not even taking their oaths of office anymore so that they don't have to be bound to them. Right. So
we're going to find you be living or dead. I mean, if the court says, if you ask the court, am I who are you talking to, a living man or woman? And they go off into a whole different question. If they change that subject right there, you tell them they're incompetent. I think that guy's right. And you're incompetent to hold court here.
Right.
The judge thinks he's talking to a dead man.
But see, it sounds good. It sounds good when you're playing it in your mind. That's why the motor vehicle is the front line to freedom, because people have to get experience fighting these people. They have to lose, or these demons, honestly, they have to lose their fear of interacting with cops and asserting themselves with cops. And they have to lose their fear of interacting with judges and asserting themselves with judges. And that's going to come with some L's sometimes, because you're going to choke and you're going to lose your confidence. And we've all went through, all people who are in my position. I went through it. I went through a learning curve, dude. Right. And it's always a chess match. But when you know
what chattel is, man, that's as simple
chattel
as this. What is a chattel? This is what Hillary Clinton and the Democratic thing, that's what they labeled us as. What is a chattel?
See, if you go in there and you say that
question,
what is chattel? If you say what is a chattel, Hillary Clinton and the Democratic thing and all that, you got to have all this.
That, but you know what I'm saying? I'm getting a scenario. You know,
got to have it.
I'm just saying, what is this?
Buttoned up tight. So let's watch the rest of this video, and I want to get into some traffic stop videos. Hold on. Play. Oh.
Never designed to serve you. It was designed to use you. Break the script or stay stuck in it.
A secret society hidden in plain sight.
That break the script and stay in it. I wish I would have just let it play for a couple more seconds, because that's the point. The United States citizen is a trust indenture script. You will do this. You will go to public education, be indoctrinated for 12 years, and you can either go to college and be further indoctrinated and get paid a higher wage slave, allotment, or you can go to trade school, and that's actually smart, start your own business, but you're just going to be a driver of other wage slaves, and still a slave yourself, and the fact that we're going to tax the hell out of your business. And then you're going to work, however many years if you're a wage slave. And then maybe if you're lucky and we haven't used all of it as a slush fund by then, you might be able to get to retire and collect some Social Security. That's your script. They wrote that script for you. That script's already all laid out. That's what you're going to do. You're going to, as soon as you're a United States citizen, you're going to go to the doctor. You can get jabbed up 85 times, right? You're going to go to a public school. You're going to get made to be an idiot and not know history or anything of value. And then you're going to enter the workforce, right? The slave force. And then you're going to go work on these corporate tax plantations who harvest your energy, right? until you have no more energy to harvest, and then they're going to set the hollow husk aside and give you a mere pittance of your own estate as something to live off of until you die. That's your script.
And when they do that, when they give you the mere pittance, that little bit of cash, that's generating securities for them too.
Yeah, and all the while they're going to farm you for securities and
Yep.
make themselves ridiculously wealthy. Of course they are.
Even after you're dead. Yep.
Yet for about 100 years after you're dead, as we found out when Doge went through all that stuff, which I don't know if they meant to release that. See, the funny thing is the stuff that I talk about on this channel, and it sounds crazy, but even a lot of high up people in different positions don't know all this shit. They have no idea about this stuff. They know how to operate real well in the system as it exists. They don't understand the illegitimacy of it to begin with, and they also don't care.
They're only taught the procedures of the system. That's all they know.
Right. Exactly. So, all right, let's start. I have not watched any of these videos, but I'm going to break them apart. And people have asked me before to give a, role play example or something like this. So what could be better than somebody else actually going through this and then me being able to, and Jeff and Mojo and Effie, if you want, to interject on what this person did wrong, right, how they're, you know what I mean? And we can kind of get some feel for the interaction. Different personalities too. These cops think that they're gods too. Also,
I think once you tell them you're a living man in court, I think it's over with.
No, it is definitely
yeah.
not.
I mean, the way I seen it the other day, and then the next court case that he went to, I think so, because I had that attorney. He was up there. I'm 30 years. You can't tell me. And I brought on the Chisholm v. Georgia thing where we're solving without subjects and blah blah blah. And then he took it. Can I get a picture of that? He took a picture of it, right? And then within about 2 minutes, he looked at his phone, and you could see his eyeballs just fucking swelled to beyond. I don't know.
That was a fantastic.
And I watched this happen live in front of me.
Listen,
okay?
The guy, so you learned that from this channel, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay,
I watched this guy's eyes swell, and he goes, listen, Ryan, I'm going to see you here shortly. Okay. I'm going to meet you.
Okay. But hold on. What I'm trying to tell you is that was a great instance of people realizing but some of these people do not care. Some of these demons do not give a shit. I want people to be prepared for that. It does go that way. What you're talking about, that is the way that it goes often, and it can go that way. And when you know what you're doing, it's lawful. That is the law. You're lawfully right in what you're telling them. But people need to be prepared that it's not just that simple always. Sometimes these people steamroll you and they just do whatever they want to do. And then you got to decide whether or not it's worth. And then another thing is it all depends on the threat of what the threat is against you. And
I went to the sergeant of arms. I understand what you're saying. I went to sergeant of arms when my brother was going to go into the court. And I said, look, I'm his witness. I said, and my brother's going to say some things that the judge's not going to like. And I told him straight up before we went in there. I was honest with him. I'm a man. I'm the living man.
Georgia, yeah.
Listen, listen to me, man. And then when he went in there to court, they go, well, you can't come in. I was like, why? It's public, ain't it?
But the Chisholm v. Georgia.
Instead of fighting with them, brother, I sat outside. My brother didn't sign any contracts. They gave him a contract to sign by October. I said, don't fucking sign the contract. Then go fuck yourselves. Pretty much.
Yeah. So here's the thing.
Dude, bring your witnesses. That's what I told the guy. So bring your witnesses for harm, loss, or injury.
All right. The Chisholm v. Georgia thing is damning for them. And it's a very good case. It's part of the right to travel binder that I'm putting together for everybody. Major part, because it establishes the initial standing of the average state citizen or just even inhabitant, because inhabitants weren't deprived of their natural rights either originally. Even if you didn't want to participate in government or society and all that stuff, you just want to do. So here's the thing is that I just want people to be aware that it's not just as simple as, like you said, saying I'm a living man. They don't care. They hear that from people a lot, I'm sure. And so you have to do stuff like what you just said is show them Chisholm v. Georgia, dude. It tells you right here that you are not, we created you. You cannot be above me. You cannot be superior to my will. You are a product of my will. You exist at my will. The just powers of the government are derived from the consent of who? The governed, right? But we're not, that's the whole thing, is the governed is government by common law with the exception of contracts. So who's actually governing in this republic? It's God. It's not the government. The government's a utility. It's a function, right? It's a way to facilitate business and commerce, right? Commerce and business, and a way to deal with international parties and business and commerce, and then also deal with, like I said, the dregs of society, the criminals, the paupers, the lame and infirm, you know. And I use the term dreg not to insult anybody, but just, you know, it's just a comment. It's just the ones that are the non-productives, right? That's what the government's job is. So what they did was found a way to label everybody non-productive by taking away your access to lawful money. Well, first they took you under administration by luring you in with some privileges and immunities, and then some benefits. But, you know, so all right, let's watch this interaction here and break it down. Once I unmute it.
Reference, if an officer wanted to really take it there
and be like you, and I'm saying I'm not looking at it like that,
right?
Because I look at everybody equally.
If
It
an
looks total
officer
AI,
wanted to
man.
really take it there and give you a ticket, ask for your ID, they have a right to do that, bro. If you don't do that, that can lead to this car getting impounded.
And look at the way this goofball's dressed, like paramilitary, fucking mask. Frickin' you got extra magazines and all that. You know what I mean? Like just straight
Definitely
special
not
forces.
Barney Fife.
Definitely not Barney Fife. No.
Man, they
But
understand.
listen,
they
I
I'm
was
not gonna do that because I ain't that type of cat.
all I'm saying is this here. I will hope that it won't do that after I
And I
tell
don't
them.
do it neither, bro.
After I tell them what I'm doing, I hope it wouldn't do that, bro.
Uh-huh.
I'm gonna say this to you one more time, bro. All I be wanting to do, bro, is help out here. All this other stuff, I'm not on that there. But
How very eloquently put.
I told you, you gonna see me all the time, bro. I'm gonna stand on what I'm doing. That's not being disrespectful.
No, it's not. I'm not
That's all I wanted to do is go by my way, man. Like I should have been home. It was a courtesy with that you told me about the headlight. I could have been about my way. A lot of officers wouldn't even, did you, like you say, someone would have talked, you never know. But I just wanted to go about my way. I'm 2 blocks, bro.
I got you.
That's it.
I got you, bro.
I'm on campground.
I got you.
Okay, well,
That's it, man.
Okay.
We talked. I've been here.
this must be in a language that I do not understand because, all right, let's keep watching.
Do you think if I was up, I would have been here this long talking to you? Have I ever looked at nervous? Have I looked at anything to make you feel anything? Because when you say, well, why I can't get your ID? And I was telling you why, what I did for you already told me what it was. What was the need? What's the what you feel about me that you have to know? If you said, well, I could have gave you a ticket, all right? You ain't gave me a ticket. You could have gave me a ticket. You said you ain't gonna give me none. Why you had to run my name, brother? For what? What you needed my ID for? I was honest with you and told you I turned my driver's license in. If I would have broke a law or something, I would have gave you my ID. But I know I ain't broke a law, but I ain't trying to make it hard on you. I know I ain't broke a law.
This is a terrible. Like I said, I didn't watch this. I don't even know what the hell is going on here. He's like supplicating to the cop and just, come on, man, cut me a break, dude. Yeah, that's not a good one. We'll move on to the next one. How about that? Yeah, that was awful. That was pretty bad. Like I said, I haven't watched these before. I pulled up some cop videos to dissect, and that one was just, I couldn't even listen to that anymore, honestly. I gotta be honest with you guys. All right, let's check this one out.
Hey, what's up? How's everything?
Good evening.
Do you have a driver's license?
Yeah, I do. What's my document?
It's a VTL violation, right?
What's a VTL?
Perfect first question. This one I did watch a little bit of. This cop is shiesty as all get out, right? Watch my language here. Yeah. What crime have I committed? What's the emergency, officer? Can I help you? Do you need help? Wait, so what are you pulling me over for? Right? Wait, well, why do you have your flashers on? Check this out.
Violation.
A BTL violation.
All right.
Vehicle traffic law, all right?
Hold on. Before we go any further, officer, I just want to let you know, I want to put you on public record, put you on public notice. You're being recorded for your safety, my safety.
Oh, on your cell phone? All right, cool.
Yeah, because I got that right.
No, yeah. Look, you're recorded
All
right
right, cool.
here.
No, I just want to make.
Sorry.
Yeah, go
Now
ahead.
it's off, actually. Now it's on.
All right, cool. So,
let's start over, all right?
Did you see that? Oh, no. Actually, it's off. Let me turn it on. Now that I see your recording, I'm going to record. Now listen to his demeanor. It's a VTO violation, right? Knowing the guy doesn't fucking understand what that means, because that's insider cop speak of their department.
All right.
Okay.
You're being pulled over right now because your license plate, all right, is not a valid license plate. And there's no plate light, so it's hard to read it, all right? So you need a license plate light above the license plate. So it looks like under the trunk lid, when you pop the trunk lid, there's two bulbs that you can change. They're burnt out.
Look how freaking nice this cop is now that he realized he was being recorded. Did you see that? He was like, hey, man, you're being recorded. I just wanted to let you know for your safety and mine. He goes, oh, that's cool. I'm recording you too. Oh, wait, it's not on. Let me turn it on. Oh, now I'm going to be super nice to you instead of just being like it's a VTO violation and then looking to the side, waiting for you to comply with me. Now I realize you're about to hold me accountable. Isn't that impressive? Right? That's why you always record every interaction with these pirates, irregardless of the circumstance. I don't even care if you know them. I don't care if you went to school with them. Record these pirates. They're megalomaniacs 9 times out of 10.
That's why you're being pulled over, all right?
All right, so before we go any further,
Yeah.
I'm just letting you know that you're being recorded.
Cool.
I'm being recorded.
Excellent.
For my safety, your safety, for court purposes, if we have to go there. Now,
Man, listen, I'm
no. So now, I'm letting you know that I'm putting on public record. So now, my next question to you is,
what's up?
Are you gonna uphold the Constitution?
Of course.
Yes or no? Okay, cool.
This is a masterclass so far, and how to deal with the cop on the side of the road. Are you going to uphold the Constitution?
So what crime did I commit?
BTL violation, all right?
Is that a crime? What crime is that?
Well, driving's a privilege, all right?
I mean, even though fining and feeing 14th Amendment citizens is actually still upholding the Constitution, he doesn't know that.
Right, but I'm traveling, so I'm letting you know that right now. I have the free rights to travel.
You're traveling.
Yeah, so...
Your name is blocked, sir.
Yeah, that's for private reasons. So can you get me your sergeant?
He's right
here. Okay, so can I speak to the sergeant?
Yeah, sure.
So actually, I'm going to pause and I'm going to address Sergeant Frog Dog. Yes, absolutely. Because the goal, so Sergeant Frog Dog said, I'm speaking from experience. I have no license and I do not register my private property. No nexus, no corpus delicti, no jurisdiction. What do I say all the time? What are they trying to get? An account number. They're trying to create an attachment to the account, to the trust estate, or to the trust, the estate held in trust, the Social Security. That's what it is. Your driver's license is linked to the Social Security number, which ties all of your actual valuable, like real property, personal property for traveling, like your car, all the things that you need every day. It ties the major property to the public debt. What they need to do is create an attachment to that trust that represents your future sweat equity, that represents your value, so that they can generate more commercial paper. This goes back to what is a Federal Reserve note. It's not a dollar. We call them dollars, but that's a misnomer, which means a mistaken name. They are contracts
signed by the Secretary of State, who represents the United States, and the Treasurer of the United States, the Secretary of the Treasury, who represents the International Monetary Fund.
Absolutely. Independent Treasury Act in 1920 was made independent so they could represent both parties of the contract when it comes to generating securities, right? Federal Reserve notes or bonds or whatever, right? So they are contracts, and those contracts, as all contracts, require security. The security for those contracts is your sweat equity. They mortgage your right to property and your right to labor, which is insane. So they have to create an attachment. So if you do not want to get a ticket, do not have a plate. and do not give a license and have 0 account numbers that they can create an attachment to. Because if this guy has a plate on his car right now, that cop can disregard all the shit that he just said. I've had it happen. That's how I know. Years ago, I made that mistake, just like Sergeant Frog Dog's talking about. And the chick was like, whatever, I'm not listening to you. I don't need your license. She went back and used my plate to create an attachment, brought me back a ticket, which is commercial paper, right? It's
usually
currency.
they take you to jail when you don't have a license and a
Oh,
registration.
No,
and that's,
but that's
like 90% of the time I see that happen. So
that's only
you're
if you-
saying that
that's-
you're the 10% that got away, and
Absolutely, 100%. My wife can vouch that. Yeah, hell yeah, we drove
Fantastic,
from here.
man.
We drove from
Praise
here
you,
to
brother.
my. Listen, we drove from here to my dad's house in Virginia, Michigan to my dad's house in Virginia, and then back. And I got pulled over in Maryland, and the cop let us go because I told him, like, all right, what crime have we committed? You know, and
yeah, that's like 1 out of like 100.
No, it's not.
So-
If you know what they're doing, what they're trying to do is they presume the car, if it has a license plate on it, then they presume it to be, well, the cop doesn't know this, but the law presumes it to be held in trust as collateral under the jurisdiction of equity, contracts, and trust indentures, right? And is able to be compelled for performance of that contract and trust indenture. That's a fact. That's what it is. What Sergeant Frog Dog said is exactly what I always say. I'm glad I got you as a sub, dude, because that's exactly what I say all the time. They need to create an attachment. Unless they can, why do you think that the cop, the first thing that he says, whether you're in a car or you're on the side of the road, let me see some ID, because I need that account number. He doesn't know that. He's too fucking stupid to know that's what he's doing. That's what he was trained to do. But that's why they train them to do that. Let me see that ID. Because that account number on your ID or driver's license is linked to your Social Security trust account. It's an underwriting investment account that they can use as security, as surety, to create commercial paper. Commercial paper is debt. Debt is currency. They are private banks issuing their own currency, using you as collateral for pretended offenses of misusing property and all that stuff that doesn't have any victim, right? Because it's all a matter of contract and trust. That's it. It has nothing to do with law. So that's how you fight them.
Well, just like I was saying, when my brother was in court, it's like I said, once he took a picture, he goes, "Can I get a picture of that?" Grissom v. Georgia. And he took a picture of it, right? And then like 2 minutes later, he started looking at his phone. And he, like I said, his eyeballs got fucking big, Ryan. It was
No, I know.
hard
The
as fuck.
Chisholm v. Georgia is the
And
start,
he's
though,
like,
because
he goes, "I've been in this for 30 years, and you're going to tell me that you know more than me?" And I just shook my head at him and I said, "Yes,
all right,
now
I got to stop
do."
you there, though. But he didn't know enough, because the truth is, if I was him, I'd have ate you alive. That's the truth. I'd have ate you and your brother alive.
No, but no,
Listen,
because
you wanna know
taught
why?
me.
You
No,
wanna know-
I'd teach him. I taught him. I told him everything
No,
when he
but
first
I'm
come
saying-
sat down. "You're wrong, sir. I'm going to tell you, he wasn't there." And when he sat down, and I told him, I said, "Listen,
I'm glad it worked out. I want you to hear what I'm saying to you. Okay, I want you to hear. I'm glad it worked out. That's how it should, and I don't want to discourage you. I want you to keep doing that, but I want to show you how
I
what
told
they
him
are.
men don't make laws."
Okay,
And he
but
couldn't
somebody
handle
who
that.
yes, but somebody who knows so he didn't actually know the law. If he did know the law, he'd know that that only applies to people who aren't under the 14th Amendment citizenship indenture. Okay, that's the point. That is constitutional. What they're doing is constitutional. It's just what I call a contractual black hole of the 14th Amendment, where no other part of the Constitution applies to you except for the 14th Amendment. That's what they do, because they
consent.
Listen, hold on, don't interrupt me. They mirror the constitutional rights that are delineated in the Bill of Rights. They mirror that in their statutes and codes and call them civil rights, but they're not constitutional rights, and they can be taken away at any time because you're not one of we the people. You're a federal enfranchisement. If he knew that, then he would have looked at Chisholm v. Georgia and he'd be like, "Yeah, I agree with you. That's true. The people are above the government. You're not one of the people." So, You got a social security number? Yeah. You use that? You do? Oh, okay. Have you put
Everybody
anything?
does.
Have you put anything on the record to kind of, you know, mitigate that? Or no, you haven't. Oh, okay. Because that's what we do. We claim our estate on the record. We put any use of any sort of account number or anything like that, like the social security number, is under duress without prejudice, because we cannot exercise our natural unalienable rights in the current society. Society has been engineered as such that you cannot exercise your natural rights to provide for yourself and your family and acquire property and protect that, right? And live a fulfilling life without doing so. So you do so under duress and without prejudice, right? And you have to have that on the record, though, the county record. But my point is, I'm glad, I'm not taking away from your victory. Your victory is awesome. Your brother's victory is awesome. I'm glad you learned that from this channel, but I just want you, I don't want you to get gassed up and then get fucked over. You know what I mean? Because
Yes, sir, I got you.
yeah, those guys don't know their ass from a hole in the ground, and that's good. And most of them don't, honestly. A lot of them don't. And but if you had come across one who did, and he looked at, if he was part of the scheme, say like in Oakland County, most of the prosecutors part of the Illuminati. I promise you. A lot of the judges are part of the Illuminati in Oakland County. I'm not even kidding. Dude, there's been whispers around the courthouse, everything about Bowman and I can't even remember all their names right now, but they're definitely part of the Illuminati. They were in a competition. They got investigated for seeing who could hand out the most man years in sentencing. And they got investigated for it. They're the Illuminati. Those people, they know the system that's been designed. And when you show them Chisholm v. Georgia, they'll be like, yeah, I agree. That's 100% true. You don't apply to that. So your property, chattel property. That's all I'm trying to say. I'm not taking away from your victory.
Oh, I got you, man. Yeah, but they got to explain to me what a chattel is. Oh, and they have to explain, well, you're a slave. I mean, that's going to be the pretty simple of it. You're trapped in a fence, and you got to do as I say. I'll feed you when I want. I'll water you when I want. You know, and you know what?
I disagree with
back
you.
To the thing is,
Hold
country
on.
boy can't survive.
Sergeant Frog Dog, I disagree with you on one point. You can always, I agree with you. Don't use statutes. I would say don't use statutes for yourself ever, because it requires, statutes always require some consent to be under them, unless the statute conforms with the actual law. Like if I write a statute says do not murder somebody, and then of course that's the law, also the common law. And so my statute is in concordance with the law. It doesn't require your consent to be under it to take on the color of law, because the law gives it the color of law. But if I tell you how to use your property, that requires your consent to be under it. Now, when it comes to statutes, you can always use statutes against them, because they are under the that's what those statutes are for. Those statutes are written to define their corporation in the same way that a corporate charter does, or any other sort of partnership agreement or anything else. You can always use those to compel them to performance. So you said statute, but they're not. They're statutes.
Well, it'd be like a perimeter fence, right? As long as
hold
nobody
on.
enters the perimeter fence and steals their property, it shouldn't be an issue.
I want to finish addressing his. So he says statutes at law are supposed to be evidence of law, but yeah, okay, only when they're in concordance with law, but you have to know what law is. Yeah, okay, statutes at large. If they're in concordance with law, then you don't need consent to take on the color of law. You don't need to refer to the statutes at large to know what the law is. It doesn't matter what the statutes at large are. And if they conform to the law, then they automatically are colored with the law. But if they do not take on, if they're not in concordance with the law, you can disregard them if you're not under some sort of contractual or trust agreement to be under those things, because there's law and then everything else. Law is not written, it's only written about. And then you have statute, code, canon, rule, decree, etc., etc. All that's man's law regulating property or commerce, but you have to consent to be under it. You have to. It's an absolute fact. Read Blackstone's commentaries. Just read it. You'll love it. If you're that far along that you understand this much, you'll love Blackstone's commentaries. Just listen to the audiobook. They got it on YouTube. Just listen to it. Listen to it, and you'll understand the history of how they created the feudal trust indentures, right? And then how that ultimately ended up in bleeding into the United States on purpose so that they could get rid of kings and the Pope and allow corporations to rise up above kings, popes, and people and rule the world in a lifeless sort of artificial commercial oligarchy type situation, which we are at the cusp of today.
Well, it's just like in court then, what you're saying, and I understand, it's just like in court. When you go to court, they always want you to sign a contract. Just tell them, I'm not signing that contract. And there's no contract. Without the contract, they got nothing.
It's not that simple,
right,
brother.
It worked because I watched it happen.
Listen, it did work, and I'm glad it worked, but I want you to know that you have to know what I'm teaching you, what Sergeant Frog's talking about over there, right? And what Mojo and Jeff already know. You have to know what they're doing. Those people that you won against don't even know what they're doing to us, which is good for you and your brother. What they're doing is they are taking implied and tacit contracts along with actual, consensual contracts and trust arrangements and registration, all that stuff, and placing you into a position that they wrote for you as chattel trustee of your own property. And on top of that, like Chris Hemna says, it doesn't always work for everyone. It will never always work for you. I'm not one of those channels that's going to lie to you and tell you it's going to work for you every single time. But what I will tell you is you need to fight every single time, because it'll be much better than whatever it was going to be to begin with. And when you know what they're doing, fight them. And if you don't have anything to lose, then fight them all the way on every last little thing. You know what I mean? That's how, but you have to know what they're doing. And what they're doing is treating you as collateral for the public debt and trying to generate revenue off you because you're under administration. The most important thing anybody listening right now can study is administrative law. What is administrative law? It's not law, right? It's when somebody is unable to manage the affairs of their own estate and they come under the guardianship or wardship of another entity, and that entity manages their affairs and estate for them. That's what the 14th Amendment citizenship is. That's what the United States Corporation does. And that is what all these administrative regulatory agencies that they have allowed to spring up all around the country are doing, is managing your property and then fining and feeing you for both the use and the misuse of it. The double side. So you got to register, you got to pay for a license, right? You got to pay property taxes. In some states, you got to pay property taxes on your car. That's fining and feeing you for the use of it. And then you have to use it the way they tell you to. And if you drive 56 and a 55, they can, bam, cause you financial injury, right? Because you didn't use their property that they're administering the way they told you to. That is the game. All right, let's see where he goes here. He's doing pretty good so far.
And I got to check out because got a big day tomorrow. Got the sick wife, so appreciate
all right, brother.
Carry on,
all right, Jeff. You good, man?
Effie.
Yes, sir.
I appreciate you being up here,
too, sir. Hopefully, you'll be at the International Truth Expo. So that'll be sweet, man. I can't wait to be there. Oh, I'm an official photographer. You know that?
Yeah,
I'm coming in. Yeah.
But his wife's health, hopefully your wife gets better, man. And I mean, men's well without too much pain. I'm sure she'll get better, but men's well without too much pain. And you definitely need to go handle that, bro. So I appreciate you being up here, and have a good night, man.
All right, we'll see y'all
later. All right, let's watch this guy. See if he's if he nails it all the way through, because so far he's crushing it.
Is everything okay tonight?
Yeah, I'm just dropping my girlfriend off.
Okay. Where do you live at, bro?
I live down there. My girlfriend lives over here.
All right, just this is the sergeant right here. Just talk to him.
How you doing, officer? My name is Jurist Society. Do you know I have the free rights to travel?
Okay, I understand that.
Okay,
I
now,
respect that.
is there RAS over here?
RAS.
I respect that, but I'm going to keep you pulled over on the side of the road in an unlawful detention.
Yeah, is there a reasonable, articulable suspicious of I'm being pulled over? Okay, what crime did I commit?
The crime that you committed is a vehicle and traffic law violation. Okay, the VTL of New York State.
And that's a crime?
Yes, it's a violation.
Because crime is two different things.
Okay, no.
Look at this dumbass cop. That's a crime. Yes, it's a violation. No, dumbass. I said that's a crime, right?
I understand that, and I'm just going to explain to you as a police officer or a police officer in the city of New York, the state of New York, a violation made in our presence is a crime and it is a possible arrestable offense. Now,
really?
Yes. Now, to further just explain, the reason why we're asking for any type of identification that you might have is because in New York State, it is a privilege to drive a motor vehicle.
Okay.
It is the only time in New York State that you have to supply a type of identification. So if you have any type of paperwork, anything with your name on, just so I can verify who you are, a report called a vehicle report. For every car that we stop, it's a
So right there, any type of paperwork where I can verify who you are. It's not about verifying who he is. He needs an account number. So that tells me this guy is smart. He doesn't have a license plate on his car. That might even be why, well, actually, yeah, he said the light on his license plate. See, this cop could go back if he had a license plate and just get his LEI, legal entity identification, create an attachment to the trust account, generate a security, generate commercial paper, which is a ticket, right? That's currency, foreign currency. It's their whatever municipality, their private banker currency that they got, and they want to exchange it for Federal Reserve notes. But he needs that identification. He needs it. There's nothing he can do. He can't go forward with anything until he gets it. This is the most important lesson of what's going on right now. You want to really stand on your right to travel? This is how you do it.
City law that they enacted that we have to document. That's the reason why we're asking, or I can just take your information verbally if you'll allow that.
Yeah, you can take my information verbally, but I'm letting you know right now, I'm traveling. You're trying to give me a violation for driving, and I'm not driving, I'm traveling. I have the free rights to travel.
And I
now, you're trying to.
Okay, this is a double-edged sword where he's like, I'm going to give you my information. And the reason he's doing that is because he knows that cop is too stupid to know the law, and that what the cop is thinking is that this guy's got a warrant. That's why he doesn't want to give me it. That's how cops think. I know cops. That's
then you go to jail usually.
One of my best friends is like the fucking cop, and we get into debates, and I win them all the time. And then he just goes, I don't even want to talk about this anymore. Okay, cool. Well, the point is that they do. That's what that cop is automatically thinking. This guy's got a warrant. So he is diffusing the situation and saying, I'm going to give you my name so you know I don't have a warrant, but do not fucking create an attachment to the estate because I'm not in commerce.
Implement a violation for driving on someone who's traveling, you're violating my liberal rights. And you're being recorded, and you're trying to tell me that violation applies to me when I'm trying to let you know that I'm traveling.
That right there, he answered your, or he did that just now. Yeah, so cleared that up. Just for people who may be just listening, Sergeant Frog Dog, who should probably come up on the show at some point, because we could have a great discussion. That's not at this moment, or he said that's not at this moment is when he should challenge jurisdiction, because anything that he gives to him beyond that point would be proving jurisdiction. Without proving jurisdiction is inadmissible. 100%. Absolutely. 100%. But he just told him, he said, I'm going to give this to you to kind of diffuse the situation. So, I don't have, I know that's why he's giving it. So he knows that he doesn't have a warrant, because that's what dumbass cops think.
All right. I didn't eat the right.
No,
I didn't put nobody's life at danger. I didn't commit a crime. I'm dropping my girlfriend off.
Oh, I told him something.
You're trying to implement motor vehicle violation codes on someone who's in an automobile traveling. That's two different things, Sergeant.
Okay.
You do know I have the free rights to travel. I have a 9th and 10th Amendment protective right to travel. You do understand that, correct?
Look, I'm not going to sit here and I'm not going to.
I'm just asking you a question. I'm asking you a question. You do understand it? Yes or no? I'm going to go to court because you're trying to give me a violation ticket. So that means I'm going to have to go to court at one moment. So like I told your officer over here, that I am recording for court purposes.
That's totally fine. Everything's recorded. Yeah.
So what did I do wrong that has to do with traveling?
This shiesty dude's just looking for anything that he can possibly. Look at him right here. I pause the screen. He's looking in the back seat, just trying to find any fucking thing. That's how these people are.
What's your first name, sir?
Joseph.
JOSEPH. And your last name, sir?
I shouldn't be giving you my information because you don't have an RAS or SAF.
Oh, man. Other than this interaction, though, how's your night?
He cut that shit out. He's embarrassed. He's embarrassed he gave the information. You should be. But at the same time, I get it, dude. I guess pick your hill, right? But yeah, he knows he just gave the account number to the cop, so the cop can create an attachment. Yeah, that's.
You're going.
It's going great. Just trying to go to sleep now.
What's up, Fred?
Yeah.
Yeah, look, I'm not gonna sit here. I'm not gonna argue with you back and forth. I'd rather keep this conversation, civilized like we're doing. But
it's all right.
See, now that he has the LEI, now he's getting a little cocky. I don't want to argue with you back and forth. Just keep it civil. Yeah, he's got the LEI. Here we go. We got his fucking account. We're good now.
I'm just trying to explain to you, me as a law enforcement officer,
yes,
the VTL states for the state of New York. You're traveling in this vehicle in the state of New York right now.
You got a cable that'll drag you out.
I live on my land. I have the rights to travel. It has nothing to do with.
So it's interesting. What he just said is all the roads are actually made up of private property. It's called a public easement. The definition of the word easement is the right of one landowner to use another landowner's property for one specific reason, right? So the public is not a landowner, by the way, but to facilitate, obviously, travel and commerce and society, there has been instituted something called a public easement. That is what makes up the roads. It goes to the center of the nearest lane of traffic because it's made up of two halves of private property, right? Now, who has the superior interest in that easement? It is the private property landowners, not the public. This guy doesn't get to dictate how he operates on the road that is used for the public easement, right? It is private property. So that's actually what he's trying to say. I don't know if he knows that, but that's, a very general way to say it. But the public easement is the public only has the ability to travel on it. Otherwise, it's private property and it cannot be regulated by anybody other than the people who have offered that easement, which at this point is so buried, nobody's going to know who that is, but it's damn sure not the fucking government at all.
Well, it would come back to the taxes. If you got to pay feudalism or whatever, yeah, I mean, you got to pay a tax on it, right? Every year.
Right. We pay for it. It's made up of
that would
private
be
property.
the same thing,
Yeah.
right? I mean, yeah. So you're paying tax. So who owns it?
Right. It's obviously the people, and it's made up of easements of private property. That's what it's made up.
You're not paying it to the people. You're paying it to the county.
Well, no, I know, because everyone's ignorant of the way things work. So that's what we're trying to remedy right now.
The vehicle. This is an automobile.
But I'm just saying the fact.
Hold on. I can't hear you. What'd you say?
I'm just saying that everybody pays taxes. And we know about the Wisconsin thing where it says all lands are allodial, right?
Mm-hmm.
Now, and where they signed, everybody agreed upon something, and all that is supposed to be to the whole fact, right? If this state said this, or this country has to say, and this country said this, and this country said this, but all lands are allodial. It's just part of the clause, which reflects everybody involved, right? That would be all the states.
So you're
So,
talking about the doctrine of equal footing, because Wisconsin says all lands are allodial, all
right?
lands.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah, 100.
So,
Yeah, one.
and
No,
then,
100.
what you were just saying was, then you go back to, well, right of way, because these people say it's a right of way. So does the state collect that and then give that to the landowners?
Okay, so no, hell no. You know they don't.
Hell no,
But
they don't. That's right.
Not only
Exactly.
not only what hold on, not only what I'm saying about the fact that the easement is made up of private properties where people have literally allowed easements for public travel, and therefore it's not controlled by the state, right? Sergeant Frog Dog again.
I mean, that's
says,
what we pay taxes for, right?
Right here, Sergeant Frog Dog said, I've done work for the accounting agent for the city of Pico, Ohio, or I think I said that right. And we had a very lengthy discussion about what the gas tax is for, and it is specifically for the roads, buses, repairs, and new. And then I guess he didn't put, but I get it, new roads probably or whatever. And then he said it's a prepaid right of use. It is 100%. The state has nothing to do with. We have the right to travel on the public easements, right? Which is what you're doing. People don't realize that. You know, you can First Amendment audit on public easements, and you have the right to be there. Nobody can impede or tell you what to do on a public easement. But what the public easement is the frickin' road, dude. That's what the public easement is. And that in that instance, that's not the only type of easement, because easement, again, you could use somebody's creek for water or whatever the case may be. But in this instance, all the 1A, First Amendment protections that go with being on a public easement also apply to traveling. That's the point. All right, let's finish this boy off.
Just in case if you want to know if I own the car or not, you can see it right there. Just in case if you want to know, because of that. I'll do that for private reasons because I have that free right to do that.
Yeah, no, I understand that.
Yeah, he doesn't have a license plate on.
I got all my paperwork with me.
All right, man. Yeah, we probably should be writing a ticket for multiple things, but we're not going to do that today, all right? Listen.
See, they're picking their battle too. Like, now we got the account number, but this guy knows too much, and it's just not worth the prosecutor's time, probably. You know what I mean? Very well done, I think. Honestly. So, Mojo or Effie, you guys got anything on that?
I like your criticism of it, and there's other things he could have said too. But he looked like he was pretty sharp and kind of knew what was going on.
Yeah, but usually, like, I watch a lot of videos, and like 98% of the time, they're busting your window out, they're dragging you out of the fucking car.
Well, that's the only ones they're going to let circulate.
You see what I'm saying?
But you got to understand the algorithms. Listen, the video, all the shorts I've just been making, right, for the past like week, those shorts are like potent, absolute, the distillation of years and years of legal research into a minute to 3 minutes of a reel, right? Like AI just compounding what I put into it into a cohesive and digestible amount of information for the average person. And I am those are Chicago Cubby Bear, one of our subs, was telling me he can't even comment on some of the reels. They don't let those things go around, right? They don't. Those things have to go around on the sheer will of the people, because they will not promote what I'm putting out on the algorithm at all, period. I mean, dude, I posted everything that I put here before I show this next video.
I was in the back of a car and got pulled out. I was like, I didn't do nothing wrong. I'm in the back seat. And you know what? They asked me to get out of the car. It was either fight or flight, right? I mean, so, and I told him, I said, like, man, I'm doing nothing wrong. I'm in the back seat. I didn't do anything wrong. What's the situation? You know, well, you're going to jail. So, you know what? I had to go bail myself. I had to get bailed out, you know, look, for nothing, because I was sitting in the fucking back seat of a car. That's how I'm saying. I mean, it really happens. It really does happen.
Listen, I get
it really happens.
Okay, that's fair.
Not that I'm pissed. I'm just saying it happens.
You gotta fight. Look, watch. So
I was fighting. I was telling him like all kinds of stuff. Like, what have I done wrong? It don't
All right,
matter.
here-
Put your hands behind your back. You're going to jail.
Dude, we listen. Any of us that have been fighting in the thing, we know. Look, check this out. This is one of the shorts I made that absolutely shadow banned, especially on X. Check
The
it out.
Motor Vehicle Code? It's not what you think. It only applies to U.S. federal citizens thanks to the 14th Amendment, which was cleverly designed to create a federal class of citizenship. This was all about control, turning citizens into collateral for the public debt. You see, Congress can't mortgage the estates of state citizens. They're the creators of government, not its subjects. The 14th Amendment was sold as an equal protection measure for newly freed slaves, but it was really a way to pull everyone under federal guardianship, giving Congress a pool of agricultural collateral. By 1933, they had mortgaged the estates of all U.S. citizens, tying everything to Social Security numbers. You think you own your property? Think again. You're just a trustee of your own estate with only equitable rights. The laws they enforce, like the Motor Vehicle Code and property taxes, are just ways for bankers to profit off you while you're stuck in this system. The 14th Amendment is the key to this whole illusion, and if you pull it out, the entire structure collapses. Now you probably see what the Civil War was really about. Learn how to claim your estate by searching Burn the Corporate Fiction on YouTube, Rumble, and X.
Yeah, so that's heavily shadow banned. You better believe that's fucking heavily shadow banned. See what I mean, though? That is a distilled red pill. I mean, that is a true, pure, fine china fucking distilled red pill right there. Perfect, right? They're not going to promote that on their algorithms because I told the truth and everything I said I can prove. And the way it was delivered is like, oh, shit, that sounds right. That sounds exactly like what's going on. Now, they're never going to let you see that type of stuff. Instead, they're going to show you people getting their windows busted and drug out of their car because those people have no idea what the fuck they're doing. All right, people, the cops and the prosecutor and everybody starts getting real sketchy when you start pointing out exactly what they're doing. Don't they, Mojo? Mojo knows firsthand.
Yeah, this was like 30 years ago, man, but I got out peacefully. I mean,
Hold on,
you know, I
listen to
didn't do
Mojo.
anything wrong.
Hold on. Listen to Mojo.
I'm sorry, I was reading some case laws on the right to travel. I got a bunch of them in front of me, and I didn't catch what you were saying.
I said Mojo knows how they get real sketchy once you start pointing out what they're doing.
Oh, yeah, he gets nervous and sometimes even stutters. Well, I think we're going to, you know. Yep.
Yeah, because Mojo had a traffic case and he hit me up a while back. It was how long? Probably like a year ago. And
You're getting close, yeah.
Getting close to a year ago. And I told him file an at-law counterclaim, trespass on the case. You're trying to administer my estate. My estate's not under administration. So he did, and he filed it, and he fucking went down, served the judge, served, you know, the cop, everybody. And then when he came back to court, the cop or the judge asked him to adjourn and then remembered that he was the judge. We have it on audio. I got it saved. It's on the mega folder too. Remembered that he was the judge. He goes, oh, wait, no. He goes, can we adjourn this? Wait, no, we are adjourning this. Like he totally forgot who the fuck he was because he had to think about and process what Mojo just hit him with. Like, dude, you're bringing me in here trying to injure me, but I have harmed nobody. I have done nothing. You're trying to administer my property, and I'm telling you, my property is not under administration. I'm not an infant. I don't accept benefits from the government. I'm good, even though you do, but they don't have to know that, you know, and et cetera, et cetera. So this thing I'm about to show you, and then I'm going to shut it down for the evening, but this is probably the best, and I'm glad I found it. I'm going to save it. Is the best way to handle a traffic court case. Okay, this is Ryan Michael Thor. I don't know if he's ever had any other strokes of genius like this, but this one right here, it's the best I've ever seen to this day.
Bow down to no man.
Listen to this. Watch. All right, make sure we got sound. Okay, we got sound. We're good to go. All right.
Filed my paperwork for you on Friday, and the clerk illegally denied it. I went again this morning and filed my paperwork again for you. The clerk again illegally denied it, even though I gave her a notice telling her it's a felony for her not to accept my paperwork. And actually, it's in law, it's considered filed when I gave it to her.
Okay,
So there.
What do you want to do today, sir?
Well, Your Honor, I mean, I'm going to have to ask a few questions first, which first of all is I need to understand the nature and the cause of the charges against me, as well as I need to know, is this a civil jurisdiction or criminal jurisdiction?
See right there, I would only amend that to say, is this a court of law or equity? Which is kind of what he's asking, but is much more specific and damning to them. But you absolutely have the right to ask them the nature and cause of the charges against you, because the reason I say instead of saying civil or criminal, because even in the Roman civil law, it has criminal and civil. But when you say, is this a court of law or equity, there is only one law, and then everything else is equity. Okay? You say, is this a court of law or equity? And, you know, whatever they say, well, it's a court of law. Okay, where's my victim? Where's the signed sworn affidavit and the witnesses that can even draw me in here under any state constitution? Are you kidding me? Yeah, it's a court of law. Okay, where's the victim? Well, I mean, and that's where it would go. But I mean, this works too. This is good too.
Okay, it's criminal jurisdiction.
Criminal.
It's traffic infraction court, so no possibility of going to jail on any of this. You've settled one of your counts. You just approved a correction on August 26, 2022, or Ryan Michael Thor did. If you're saying, are you saying that's not you?
Ryan Thor is the living man. Ryan Michael Thor is the defendant in error. It's the artificial person. So thank you, Your Honor. Let the record of the court show that the action against me is criminal. And now I have another question, because the Constitution grants us two different criminal jurisdictions, okay? One criminal jurisdiction is under the common law. The other is under the criminal jurisdiction of admiralty or military tribunal venue from Article 1, Section 8, Clause 17 of...
That's nailed it. Freaking nailed it. And she's trying to shut him up. Look.
I filed my paperwork.
Oh, that's the whole thing? That's the whole thing? That's all they have? Oh, yeah, that's tricky.
Work for you on Friday.
No, anyway, she dismisses that. That's no way that's all they have left on Facebook. She dismissed it. Just long story short, he said he did that, and then she tried to get him for the fines. Oh, we'll dismiss it, but you have to pay the court fines. And he was like, well, no, if there's no actual charge or crime, then why would I pay you anything? And she was like, okay, no fines then, right? So, yes, it is something worth playing on a Super Bowl commercial. You got a bunch of strikes, huh? You got to be a little bit more careful, man. Yeah, they don't play, dude. I've been uploading these shorts, and it's been tough. They've been dinging me on every little thing. That's why some of them got a little weird, choppy audio, because I've had to take the tracks off of them I had and put something else
Actually, on YouTube, I've been seeing all your shorts, man. They're fantastic. I even sharing them. So, yeah.
You're subscribed, though. I'm saying, like, you know how when you go through YouTube shorts and you swipe through the videos, nobody will ever see my fucking shorts on there, I guarantee you.
I'm seeing them. That's all I'm telling you.
No, I'm glad you are, and I'm glad you like them, and I'm glad you're sharing them, because people have been asking me for a long time, take this information, put it into shorts so I can share it with, my friends and family and stuff, because, this is, once I tell people what's going on, they're like, yeah, this is actually absolutely what's going on. And I can prove it, as always. I prove every last thing I say when it comes to the law. When I get into the spiritual stuff and the esoteric side of things, it's a bit more theoretical. Of course, it's only my own personal experience, but it also adds to why I know the law so well. So take that for what it is. Yeah, they just, shit, let me check.
The Grissom v. Georgia brother it damaged that guy. Like I said, that attorney, he was all upset. It was funnier shit, bro. I'm telling you, he's like, oh, you know more than me. 30 years of this. Oh, he got upset once he took a picture, and within 2 minutes, he got that response back from his people. Oh, it was funnier shit, man. I'm sitting there watching sweat outside the
Chisholm
courtroom.
v. Georgia is damning. Is
I'm
damning.
watching
It tells you
sweat,
that
bro.
the government is a regent. The government stands in the same relation to the people of the several states as a regent would to the sovereign of England or any other European nation. They are beneath you, right? Check this out, though. I'm going to show you guys something real quick. So we'll go to now we're going to go to my profile. Where's my profile? Okay, we're going to go to the profile, burn the corporate fiction, follow me on X, right? If you're not already. Anyway, so we go down here to my response to Benny Johnson. Did they remove it? Oh, wait. No, I got to go to replies. Sorry, guys. Replies. Okay. So look at this. So we go down to Benny Johnson. He was streaming. I hit him. Look, he's got 588,000 views on this post. And a lot of those people click the comments, right? I put this on here. Look at that. 11 hours ago. I put this on here when he had 5,000 views. I only have 394 views on here. Now, at the same time, I put the same video on Alex Jones, InfoWars, 11 hours. I only have 23 views. That's impossible. Both of those. I mean, this one's more realistic, right? But it's not. It shows you that X is hiding this from people. It's hiding 23 fucking views. No way. Just scrolling past it gives me a view. That's my point. It's not like, oh, I'm somebody. What I'm saying is just when I know when you're on X and you scroll past something, it gives it a view. It does. If you let it play for a minute, it's a view. Boom, done, right? So 23 fucking views. He's a shill, obviously. And they do not want people to know this. Look, they want people to play into the federal political game. Where, by the way, the last thing I'm going to say tonight, because I'm about to shut this down, is this, the new Trump dividend dollar, right? Let me open this up real quick. I was talking to one of our esteemed subscribers.
Yeah, I seen that Scotland thing where he's over there playing, and one of the news people, I can't remember who it was asking a question about Epstein. He just turned on the music and his golf car and drove away. I don't know if that was fake or not, but everything's day is fake as fuck. It's hard to believe anything right now.
I'm going to show you that. And Chris, you're right, actually, about what you're saying. If we are drivers, then we should be compensated because you're employed by the state. 100%. That's true. That's absolutely true. Actually, people have gotten out of their ticket by saying that. I've seen video of that. I wish I had saved, but.
Well, remember, I even asked you a question one time on your show that if our car breaks down, should we send them a bill? And you said no.
Right.
So, I mean, should we? Yes or no? I mean, I think we should.
Well, no, I only said no because they're going to laugh at you. But other than that, yes, lawfully, it's the same thing with accepting for value your municipal debts like tickets.
Yeah, if they're the owner of the vehicle, right? When I register.
Listen, hold on. Let me finish. It's the same thing as accepting for value municipal debts that have already been supplied for by the mortgage of your estate, right? You should be able to discharge those through the treasury, which is what a lot of people try to teach, like Brandon Joe Williams, who's like, you can accept for value, discharge the negotiable instrument. Yes, lawfully, 100%, they should do that. The reason I say it's a scam is because they never will. Lawfully, yes, they should. 100%. They should do that. They're not going to. So this thing right here, because I did a show on this.
So they're breach of contract in that case, right?
Right, but enforce
that would be breach of contract.
Hey, that's the true preliminary law of nature is force. That's why they only go so far with us, because we have the Second Amendment. We have the superior force if they go too far, but they do what they can. One or two or even 100 or 1,000 people, they don't really care about because go ahead and enforce it. That's the point. So here's the thing, though. You got to create a jurisdictional quagmire for them, because what they're doing is a black magic ritual every single time in their temples. I mean, courts, I mean, banks, whatever they are, right? They're all three. And that's why he wears a black robe when he's sitting up there with Osiris's dick in his hand, smacking it on the fucking puck on his table, right? That's what that is. It's a black magic ritual, and they have
So
to
they call
get
that a donkey dick or something?
So I called it
I'm just-
Osiris's, but anyway,
understand.
same thing that the
I'm just making
Washington,
fun.
same thing that the Washington Monument is. That's Osiris's dick in the middle of Washington D.C., and it's also centered in the middle of a Vesica Pisces, which represents the yoni of, or the vag of Isis. It's right there. That's what these people do. It's all black magic rituals. If you don't know that, then you're behind the ball, or
You
you're
said
behind
the
the game.
vag?
Yes, the vag.
Okay, so vagina. Okay. All right.
So
I got you.
a Vesica Pisces is a MasterCard symbol. Okay. And imagine a MasterCard symbol, and imagine that the Washington Monument is placed directly in the center, which represents the vag. Yes, the vagina. It does. It just does. Just take it for what it is. That's what it is. I'm not being whatever. I'm telling you the truth. So this thing right here, they're trying to sell this to people, right? And I was a little bit optimistic about it the other night, but the more I talked to Brian, which is one of our subscribers, and he's big into finance, and he told me the deal, and it makes perfect sense. And what this is supposed to be a treasury dividend dollar that they're gonna end the Fed, the new money revolution, right? They got the whole end the Fed thing off the debt clock. They don't show that anymore, but if you go to the last video that I did, you'll see it, because that's the thumbnail. And also we went through this, but so a golden age, right? All this, and then even starts out with scripture on the debtclock.org. And Jesus went into the temple of God and cast out all them that sold and bought in the temple and overthrew the tables of the money changers. It inspired us. It really did. It's beautiful. Truth
The first
is,
disputer of
this
the enslavement.
goes through, tells you about the Bank of England, tells you about the Federal Reserve and how it's a cartel, it's a loan shark, it's a Ponzi scheme, a big red pill for people, right? Blah, 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 blah. And then you get down here and it says that the state is going to charter the new currency. You don't have to have an ID to get the currency. It's not attached to the currency. It's anonymous, no capital gains tax. Sounds beautiful, right? It's the same system, because what the federal dividend dollar is, it's in right here, U.S. Treasury, 100% reserve, 3% value per year, dividend dollar, direct ownership of we the people. Well, we the people is the corporate oligarchy. The dividend is going to be your universal basic income when AI takes over everything. Okay? Because they're merely, so the same way that you're mortgaged and you're used as collateral and chattel by the banking system, now that ownership is just moving over here to this corporation. And now they're going to call you an asset-backed currency, right? You're the asset. And so they look at it like being fair. Well, we're going to give you a dividend. Well, that dividend for being used as an asset as part of the wealth of the nation, which means that you still have your legal entity identification, you still have to register all your property, you still have to do all that stupid shit. Now it's just basically moving to smaller corporate ownership, right? More central, or smaller, more so word I'm looking for. Smaller, more independent ownership of each area of the same system that we had before, removing the central banks, but they're going to keep everything. They're going to keep everything. There's still going to be motor vehicle code. There's still going to be income tax. They're going to get rid of the income tax. They're just going to call it something else, because that's what gives you value as an asset, is being able to tax your sweat equity and your property. The only way you can be an asset to USA for them to give you dividends is if they use you as an asset, as a source of revenue, as something that they can borrow against or they can trade on. And it's just a big fucking trick. The whole thing's a big trick, guys. I just want to let you know that it's a giant trick. So to cap off what I said on my last show, it's a fucking trick. It's a big trick. And what they're going to do is they're going to trap everyone in freedom cities where you're governed by AI who has access to your legal entity identification. You're going to be permanently bonded with what normies call the straw man. And yeah, yeah, if people go for this and this is allowed to go through, it's just going to be another version of the same fucking thing we've had the whole time. So yeah, he said, I've seen several weird debt clock things. This is not the first one. Yeah, I agree. So anyways, without further ado, I'm going to go around. Do you guys want to say anything to the audience before we shut this down? Or
No, thanks for having me on as always, Ryan. You're very informative. Appreciate it.
Of course, Mojo. You always contribute. I appreciate having you on. How about you, Effie? I'm going to take that as a no. And all right. So thank you guys for joining me. And I will see you probably tomorrow, but within the next couple days. And we'll pick up on the next installment of this. The next one's going to be what to include in your binder. And then we'll go from there. So
some reason they had me on mute. I don't understand. I don't know why it muted me, but I did want to say something.
Go ahead.
I know you're leaving. Mojo, I'll see you shortly, obviously, a couple months. But Ryan, yes, man, I love your show, and what you do is like awesome. Learned a lot from you.
Thank you. I'm glad I could help you and your brother. And don't take what I said as discouragement. I just want you guys to be prepared that it doesn't work that easily every time. So.
Well, no, it was no discouragement. Like I said, I watched it physically happen in my eyes, though. When he
I know. I've had
man,
it. I've done it.
It's like it, and everybody's jaws dropped, and then you had the judge asking the accused what he wants to do.
Mojo knows all about it.
Physically see this, it's like a game changer.
It is
in the whole scenario, and it's like the judge's like, "Well, what do you want to do?" My brother's like, "I just want to dismiss the case."
Now imagine if you know how to.
He could have said something on top of his claim more. You know what I'm saying? But he didn't do that. He just wanted to end it.
Now imagine if you know how to file your claim, serve them with that before you even enter into the courtroom and let them know everything your brother said before you even walk in there. That's
right. I got
the idea.
You.
That's what we
I got
do.
You. That's what I want to do. So that's
we can
I'm
help
gonna join. I'm gonna join. I'm so busy with my thing. I've got.
Don't worry about it, man.
I've got land that I got to take care of, and it's like Mojo knows. He's been here. He knows what's up. So,
dude, I get it. Trust me.
You know, I mean, I don't get no water. I don't have sewage that goes to them. I do have electricity and I do have internet like you do, of course, or whatever, like everybody else does. So some necessities you gotta kiss ass for,
right?
Well,
we'll cover that about utilities. They actually owe us for being able to do that. But anyways, I got to get off here. So you guys have an excellent night. Effie, feel free to join next time I have a stream, probably tomorrow. And we're going to continue pick up where we left off and get more into what we do, what documents we should have with us when we're traveling. So you guys have a excellent night, and I will see you most likely tomorrow.